We're good, we're recording, everything's good. I guarantee you we're gonna get back out of there and all this praise for Griffin's gonna go out the window and he's like, I didn't hit the record button for any of the clips. Actually, I'll just save that story for the Welcome back to TYT Sports. We're gonna do a clip on NFL loyalty in terms of why I think maybe in all sports this crosses over to. We have a few quick talking points and then a very fun story at the end about when I directed a What the Flick TV review show on Game of Thrones, specifically the Red Wedding episode. This is a true story. So Game of Thrones fans, wait till the end. In terms of the NFL, there's been some news. There's rumors Marshawn Lynch might go play for the Raiders, which I find strange because Jamal Charles and Adrian Peterson are readily available free agents. Those are two free agents that played for the Chiefs for a long time and arguably the greatest Viking player of all time. I don't know if there even is an argument besides, depending on where you look at Randy Moss in his prime there too.
Yeah,
they've had some very explosively fun offensive players. But it comes down to the fact that it doesn't seem like there's loyalty in the NFL. It's because for the most part it's a business, and I think people misconstrue this. Fans think that the general managers look at players, and this is gonna sound bad, but they look at them as people. For the most part, if you are not the franchise guy, you're not a person.
You're a commodity.
You're an asset. You're a robot. You're a player. You're a guy who's big and strong and hopefully can win you more money.
Why I don't know why it would be surprising for someone like this to, if we're talking about this hypothetical fan who's like, yeah, they treat them as players. Then if they were treating them as players, that would mean they would treat them as human beings. It would mean they treat them with care. It would mean that they would look into cases where they could get brain trauma. But they don't.
Or maybe smoke weed instead of prescription painkillers.
Exactly. So
just saying, maybe possibly.
They don't. The fact is, they don't preserve these players' health more often than not, and that showcases that they don't really care about this individual. They care more so about filling seats, making money. It's a business. It is the common theme throughout sports. I'm not saying this is just specific to the NFL, but I think that the NFL,
every sport.
I think the NFL does showcase that a lot of these players don't have as much loyalty because I don't think they have anything to be loyal to. There's a few factors why I think that. Why be loyal to someone when they can uproot and move, right? That's my first point. Why would you be loyal to
for the American family,
the San Diego Chargers when you uproot and move to Los Angeles? Why would you be loyal to a team, whether or not you grew up loving them or not, when, as I mentioned, they don't care enough about your health to the point where they could just hide information that could prevent you from finding out more so about having brain trauma or having a concussion when they would just care about getting you back on the field. And why would you care about someone who is fully in control of your contract to the point where you have very little say? And I say that but in reference to football, world football. Players more often than not in control of their contract. If a player wants to leave, yeah, there's some situations where it won't be pretty and they may have to not play a couple of games and then they leave, such as Dimitri Payet. I'm not using him as an example as a good case, I'm just saying that happens. But more often than not, players in world football will have the choice if they want to go and play another team. Play for another team, they'll leave. Whereas in NFL, I feel like more so it's completely under the ownership of the team and players have very little say. And that's why I think when it comes down to loyalty, they will take an opportunity to simply go ahead and make some money rather than maybe playing for a team that they love.
So there's two-way streets there, right? So here's why I say loyalty doesn't exist, because there's never been a time where both a player and a management were equally on the loyalty bus.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
We'll create it.
The loyalty bus.
Let's get 4 wheels.
4 wheels?
Let's get a horn.
I'm down.
Roger Goodell is not on it.
He's not on the loyalty bus. My big point here is this, right? And this is a good example to use. Patriots fans generally believe, and I've talked to a few of them who believe this, and they do, and they'll fight to the death, and they're very, very, very wrong about this. Rarely will I ever state a statement of fact, but here's a statement of fact. If Bill Belichick and or general management did not think Tom Brady could win them a Super Bowl next year, Tom Brady would be traded, or would be released, or would become a free agent. And what fans want to believe is he's given us all of those rings. There is no way they would rather go 8-8 and miss the playoffs with Brady. Then you don't know the Patriots, then you don't know your organization, and you're lying about it. You're lying to yourself, right? So there's a couple of instances that really stand out across all sports. By the way, the Patriots very much believe Tom Brady can win them more Super Bowls. And it's likely he finishes career with New England because that mindset will be the same. But the second it changes, just like Belichick will flip an all-pro linebacker for a draft pick because he's not going to get him where he wants to be, would be the same exact instance with, yes, even the likes of a Tom Brady. Colin Cowherd does a great segment, a great bit about what do you mean loyalty to a team? Joe Montana left. One of the greatest. Peyton Manning left. If you ask for Peyton Manning after that Super Bowl, he'll never leave the Colts. The Colts would never let him go.
Yeah.
They let him go before he was even done with his prime. So there is no loyalty. And then a lot of people say like, well, Kobe got that contract from the Lakers. Yeah, I also remember times where there was where the Lakers were lofting trades up for Kobe Bryant. I also remember times where Kobe Bryant looked at the general manager at the time, a name that we don't like to speak all too much, Donald Sterling, and said, "Get me out of here." There's no loyalty, man. And I think it's exceptional when there is. I can name very few instances where it would floor me to think that even if a player wasn't playing to the ability that they wanted to and they would trade him. We just talked about Tim Duncan recently. That's an exception, because there's always a couple of exceptions to the rule. But Tim Duncan, sure. Dirk Nowitzki in basketball, sure. But Dirk's getting to a point where if he wants to continue playing, it's not going to work for the Mavericks.
Yeah.
But in the football case, you know, the Vikings had Peterson for a long time. And a lot of people were saying, how can you let Adrian Peterson go? You got to move on. Sometimes it's the best for both parties. It's not a loyalty thing. It's a, look, man, you can't run the ball like you used to, and you can't run the ball like we need you to win, to get us back into contention.
Yeah.
So there is no loyalty in sports because it's a business. If there was no money involved and it was all based on merit and friendship.
Just count me in.
Do you know where that leads to a conversation about, Francis?
It leads
that time you promised me a breakfast burrito.
Leads to participation trophies. That's what it causes.
I love
Yeah,
trophies.
I think I just
I have
did.
so many of those in my closet.
Never. Yeah, it's there's nothing more to say about this. Yeah, my Twitter feed
I'm
is.
sorry, no, not your Twitter feed, your
What?
schedule.
My schedule's on the back of my computer. Jason doesn't understand that in order to try somehow to keep up with the shahite that's going on in my life, I have to stamp my schedule to the back of my laptop. But yes, so there you go, Jason. There's no point echoing the points you already said. It's a business. Unfortunately, people are always replaceable. This isn't a Beyonce song.
It's a good song.
It is
It's a good
wait,
song.
Wait, let me scrap that. It is a Beyonce song because she says that you're not irreplaceable.
Is that Brett in a fedora?
Is that Brett?
Wait, I wonder
is
if
that
Brett
Deanna Jones?
I wonder if Brett was on this. Brett Deanna Jones. I wonder if Brett was on that What the Flick. Did you do What the Flick Game of Thrones reviews at Current? Could you hear?
Yeah, I did some.
You did some. When I was interning and I was directing under, I forget who I was even doing, like Jesus was teaching me probably, which is probably why I messed up. It was the Red Wedding episode. So obviously, spoiler alerts for those in Game of Thrones, like stop listening now or whatever, I'll be nice. But it's like the biggest episode maybe in the history of like HBO television, up there with the Breaking Bads and the Wires and all that. And Ben Mankiewicz sits down and he starts it off with like, holy shit! Freaks out and they talk and it's like an hour and 8 minutes, and at the very end I realized I didn't hit record. Were you on that one or no?
I was not on that one.
No, okay. Because if you were, like, you would remember that. And then the funniest thing is Jenk and Ben and whoever else was on it, possibly Anna, like they look over and they go, hey, well, here we go in 5, 4,
That's
3.
I would have expected.
And the best part is Ben Mackey's.
Same thing.
Holy shit.
I was about to say, that's hilarious. I would have expected Ben to make a snide remark. I was going to say that if there was one person you would want to be on the panel for that happening, it definitely would be Brett, because he would just crack a joke about something about it being repetitive. At least we got all the mistakes out of the way.
Once for Pop Trigger, and then something happened where it didn't record. Like the whole
like 2 hour
hour-long
ordeal,
show.
yeah.
We did the whole thing, and we were all like, that's the best show we ever done. I can't believe it was so perfect. And then afterwards they're like, so could you come in next week? We need to do a reshoot of some actually, let's just do the whole thing.
I do love that reaction. There's a very good way to dance around it, to be like, we just want to redo that 7 segments that we did. And maybe add some things.
Something small, I'd make a joke, but this was like such a big, obviously embarrassing thing for whoever it was that I did not make.
I did not direct that episode.
Probably Jason.
Nope.
Well, good thing Gryffindor press record, right, Griff? Right, there you go.
Man, throwing Ja'Cory under the bus again. Cold-blooded gangsters.
Ja'Cory would not record.
Ja'Cory's not allowed to take days off.
Coming in at 5.
Take us home.
We're out. We're done. That's it. They know what to do.